Alright, so this is the bracket on my 459cc Predator. So if you're looking at the top of the engine, the clutch side will be right here. It'll be facing me right here where my hand is. That's where the driven clutch will be, or the drive clutch will be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this hold down bracket right here. It's got a couple little spot welds right there. I'm going to take those off. I'm going to relocate this bracket over to this side so that I can use this right here instead of this one. Now before I had my cable coming in this direction. It was held down here. It was running through this. And every time I squeezed my gas pedal, this would pull this direction. And then it would pull my rod, which was over here hooking to the carburetor. But the way I want to do it this time is I want to come from this direction with my cable. So I need to hold down here for my cable. And then I'm going to run the metal cable coming out of there. I'm going to run through here. So every time I push my gas pedal, it pulls back this direction like this. Alright, so I just drilled a couple holes right here and popped that thing off where those spot welds were. I have a couple little score marks right here. I don't know how good you can see them, but there's two lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to relocate this to right here. So that'll be right there. I'm going to tack weld that on. And then my cable will mount here and then run over and go straight through this right here. Alright, so here it is after I welded that little bracket on there. It ain't pretty, but it'll work. Ain't going nowhere. Alright, I got that main bracket bolted back on there. One more thing I wanted to show you guys is this little tab right here on the side of the crankcase cover. There's nothing on this back side of it. I drilled a little hole through that, and I'll show you what I'm going to use that for here in just a second. Alright, so here it is all finished up. So I left quite a bit of slack down here in the cable, just for when this motor moves up and down a little bit, because the way these club cars are set up, even on the original engines, this front part right here is actually free floating. So this whole engine plate and my forward reverse gearbox and all that, that's all hooked to the rear end, and that moves up and down with the suspension and everything on the rear end. So I did leave a little bit of play right here in this cable. So this is just coming up, wrapping around where the oil sensor was. Here's that zip tie that I told you about. And then from there it's going up into the clamp on the bracket that I moved from over there into this, and then that's tightened down. And then over here on the other side, this is where my my linkage is all hooked up. So I just made me a little rod. It'll be kind of hard to see right here. So I made me a little rod just out of a piece of coat hanger that runs from here down to the black throttle adjustment on the carburetor right there. Little flapper deal on there. There's my spring loaded kickback right there on my cable. And then I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like when I hit it from the front here. Alright, so this is me pushing the gas pedal down. full throttle right there. Normally I wouldn't put that spring so close to that linkage right here, but right now there really isn't any other option as far as any other location to put that that I could find. Now there is going to be a secondary spring over here somewhere just in case this one were to ever break, but I've been moving this back and forth, and this spring right here where it's at, it's not interfering with anything. Nothing's catching or snagging on anything right here. So the spring I ended up going with, this is one of two that you would use on like an Edelbrock or a Holly on a Chevy small block. There's usually one inside of the other one. Here's the other one. And it's the perfect amount of tension for that cable and that gas pedal, so that worked out good. Still got a lot more bugs I need to work out on this thing. I need to get my fuel pump mounted, obviously, and get that second spring on. One more thing that I do want to do is I want to add another bolt over here somewhere to where I can stop this. As far as I want to be able to stop this right before it hits full throttle so that I don't stretch this cable out. And then another thing that I did having this way is I put a bolt right here which will work as my idle adjustment, so I don't have to mess with that little one that was down there on the back of that carburetor anymore. And I may epoxy me some kind of little knob or something on this just to make that a little easier to turn, but that worked out really well having that right there also. That's going to be it on the video, guys. You can see this is kind of crammed down in here. I had to take the pull start cover off of here to make room on this. Definitely a tight squeeze. But that's going to be it on the throttle hookup. We'll see you guys on the next one.